It's Car Con Carne, still in quarantine. Quarantine Con Carne. I'm James Van Osdell. My voice a little deeper and throatier after talking at the concert last night. I was at Local H at the drive-in downstate in Gibson City at Harvest Moon Drive-In. So my voice is a little fried. I'm a little tired, but tonight is full of rewards. Xoe Wise will be joining me shortly. Before we get there, I should mention Car Con Carne is sponsored by C&H Financial Services. As business owners open back up to serve their communities, they're faced with a lot of challenges as they navigate through the new normal brought on by the coronavirus. C&H Financial Services is here to help. They offer a variety of products that range from traditional merchant accounts to a zero-cost payment processing solution, which eliminates the expense associated with accepting Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express as a form of customer payment. C&H Financial Services eTab solution is easy to set up for your business for online ordering, curbside pickup, whatevs. C&H also offers cost-effective commercial lending programs to help get your business the money it needs to make it through these unprecedented times. To learn more, contact C&H Financial Services at 855-600-2437 or go to www.chfs.us. As promised, Xoe Wise returning. Is it lightning where you are? Did I just see lightning through the window?
There was this epic rainbow that just happened. You know, it went full, like I had two walls and the rainbow was, I could see through both windows. It was pretty amazing, like 5 minutes ago. And I think it even spelled Car Con Carne.
I'm sure it did.
Section of it, yeah.
About an hour before we started recording, it got just apocalyptic outside. The rain coming down, like repeat thunder, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, okay, we're not going to have power tonight. Like this pod, I was convinced that the entire power grid where I am was going to be taken out and we'd have to rain check this, so to speak. But everything seems fine. Now there's just like an eerie colored yellow sky.
Right.
That's a good thing, right?
It is a good thing. It's perfect podcast glow.
It's nice lighting, if nothing else.
I dig it. It was so funny how stormy it was. And I was moved to try and make a music video earlier out in the sky, like the sky being really strange and stuff. So I was out there trying to make that happen with my girlfriend earlier and friend Marcy. And we distantly tried to make this music video, see what happens. But we didn't get caught in the rain. And the sky was so weird and awesome. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love that. The sky goes all weird. The weather just looks like it's perfect for a music video. Roll them up. Let's go outside. Let's do this. Time's wasting. We got to make this happen while it still looks cool outside.
Yeah.
That's the artist in you. So for people who haven't met Xoe Wise before, she's a singer-songwriter. She is a beloved Chicago performer. And you have a new album coming out next month, which is called Air.
Yes.
Now, it was supposed to come out today. I think when I originally booked you, I'm like, oh, this will be great timing, but we could still, pre-promotion's a valuable thing. Is this all stuff you worked on during the pandemic, or were these songs put together before the world went upside down?
Yeah, the songs themselves, I was already in the works to put them out around now. The pressure kind of went away as far as the CD release show date that was supposed to be at Shuba's on July 9th. So I was in school. And then this summer was going to be a real big dive back into full-on music, and that shifted. But so with that, some of the dates shifted and everything. And I wanted everybody needed to take a breath. And, you know, even though I was offering a record called Air, there was like this really big, deep breath that everybody, I feel like, kind of needs to take right now. And so it just made sense to wait a little longer. But the songs themselves were written back. One of them, a song Late Parade, was written back around the Ferguson riots, and called Late Parade. Clearly we're late on some stuff. And then a lot of the other ones are love songs and me figuring out how I am as a dual human being in the way of feeling like I'm a real hippie, easy breezy person, but I actually like really care about some things, and letting myself like lean into caring and the journey of that through love and life and all of that, and what it means to breathe.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because when I listen through these songs, again, next month is when we can get Air in our hands, in our streaming players, etc. These are relationship songs. I mean, right out of the gate, Air and Cloud, I mean, these sound like very personal portraits.
Yeah, I think Cloud, I was at first I had named the record Linear Eclipse, and it was an ode to how I've done a lot of things out of order. I'm a much older student than a lot of the kids I went to school with recently, but I went back to school. I had spent a lot of time doing singer-songwriter stuff, and then I joined a post-production team and was working in film for a long time. And this film crew was working on just such inclusive art, like Sense8, a Netflix show, and Cloud Atlas, and a lot of the events at the studio revolved around very cool philanthropy events. And I was moved after like that, and then running a marathon to go back to school. Like I could, maybe if I could train, I could study. Anyway, so I went back to school, and that's where I end up sort of writing some of the songs, is through that time. Oh yeah, Linear Eclipse, that's what I was talking about. You told me to just talk. It was bad suggestion.
I love it. This is great.
So yeah.
Can I ask what you went back to school for?
So psychology, I was finishing up that. So I'm going to grad school for social work this coming fall.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I'm excited. It's a time where there's plenty of need in our world. So, and I hope to blend, I love making programs, which is, that's something else. So Linear Eclipse was originally the name, where I was like, it's okay to do things out of order, and we're all curious moons and things obstruct our view. But then I was listening back and I was like, oh, clearly I was like afraid to feel for a long time. And I was up in the clouds, the song Cloud, I'm like in the clouds. I look back on some interview I did with Jessica Hopper recently, which I was going to read out loud at Shuba's, because it's beautiful at my 19-year-old self, how in the clouds I was. But some of the answers I gave in this interview are, I mean, they're in the clouds. So I was like, oh, I can be up here, but if I'm looking down and not living in the world, I'm not gonna really feel things and get things. And then Park Too Close, I wrote around my girlfriend being a much better parallel parker than me. And I'm like, you know,
that is a skill. I mean, you either have it or you don't, and it's clear. I mean, there are people who can whip around like they're in an action movie, and they can wedge themselves within an inch of either bumper. And then there are people who, it's like, we're going to be here for a while. Come on, go ahead. Just keep going. I'm going to work on this for a bit.
Yeah. People get pleasure out of watching it, you know. She's just such a kind person. She's like, you know, Zoe, I don't know if we should park here. It's just not a kind move. And I was like, you're a better person than me. I'm so glad to be with you. I love you. And so parking too close and stuff, we can learn a lot about our partners or potential partners in how they park.
Fascinating. There's also a song on there called Holiday, which is a moody song. Who's doing backup vocals on that?
Heather Seika.
That's a cool sounding song.
Thank you. It went through a lot of different vibes, you know, but yeah, we landed with some electronic spacey stuff and some additional programming by the mixing engineer Gabriel, and Minterm and I produced it together. It was he wanted to, I think it was Goo Goo Dolls-y originally, and then it went through a lot of visions.
Well, I hear a lot of acoustic traditional singer-songwriter type sounds in this new music. It feels like you started as an acoustic performer and you found your way back around to that.
Yeah, I think I wanted to work on music. I felt a little not whole just being in school, and I've become more comfortable with wearing both hats, and in some cases when they can blend, it's really, really awesome, like social work and music. But the fulfillment of music was me going in on Saturdays and finishing these acoustic tracks that I had been just sitting with for a while, and letting them just be that, and trying to tell stories a little bit better. And I'm a wanderer. And so I've dabbled in a lot of genres, and I love the rock and electronic stuff. And I, you know, was just in a place where I wanted to try to tell a story better. I think this record got a little closer. I'm still working on it.
You talked about your interview with Jessica Hopper from when you were younger. I mean, we could actually watch you grow up on your YouTube page. I mean, dating back 10 years to a Taylor Swift cover you did. I mean, Zoe through the years is on full display on YouTube.
Whew, that's true. Yeah. So all my future clients of social work should be an interesting road. Yeah, I think I was really inspired by David Bowie when I was kind of deleting things as I went for a long time. And then I'm like, we are so many things. We are easy breezy and stressed out and making spreadsheets. We are, especially as women, more complex than what we allow to be seen out on screen and even within a song. And so songwriting, I think too, has been a way of trying to be clearer. I think I struggle with still being kind of abstract sometimes in some of songwriting, but some attention and focus issues I have are really helped by songwriting, because I can say, where's this free write? What's in my head? And how can I try to put it together in a form that I need to put into form for myself too?
Let's talk a little bit about what you've been doing for the past few months. You've been fun to watch. You did these pop-up performances. You load your guitar up on your back, you jump on a scooter and perform in front of different restaurants, right?
Yes. Curbside Live with Xoe Wise has been a blast. I have a motor scooter, and I've been able to fit all of my equipment on there. I'm still doing them. This weekend's been a little weather wondery today. And every show I started out doing, I was like figuring out as I went, but I wanted to stay connected to the venues that I wasn't playing at through the summer that I thought I was going to be playing at. It's nice to be here with some Beat Kitchen energy. There we go. Shout out Beat Kitchen. But I threw in a bunch of venues that I love, rehearsal spaces, asked other people to throw in some as well. And before each show, I would do a raffle. And then the 50% of the proceeds from that show would go to that local establishment. And yeah, I would just sort of park somewhere sometime, which kept people distant so that I wasn't like attracting any crowds. I put like some PPE on my mic and have a contactless tipping sign. It's been fun, like to get out of my own head, to try to do, I'm not like changing these venues' lives or anything, but it's nice to at least just stay connected and like.
It's a good outlet. It's a good artistic and creative thing to do. Keep your brain busy. And I totally get it. I appreciate it. I also have scooter envy. Like, I want a scooter so bad. What kind of scooter are you riding around in?
Oh, it's a Buddy Genuine. It's the 125. So I got my motorcycle license last year, which I'm glad I did, not because I needed a bigger bike or anything, but because I've become a safer driver.
Mm-hmm. See, I went for my motorcycle license like 2 years ago, failed it the first time, the test, because I was on this. It's really hard. It's really hard. It's impossible, or it was impossible for me to not drop my foot. And then I failed. Then I did a scooter class, or a motorcycle class done on a scooter. I'm like, oh, I can do this. Mm-hmm. And I learned on a scooter. I'm like, okay, now I just want a scooter. And then I rented, just because I had that scooter bug, I rented for a weekend a 49cc scooter, which was fun, but it's scary because it can't get fast enough, quick enough. So when you're merging into traffic, it's total anxiety. Like, I'm trying to go fast and you see the car coming behind you. So I think, what do you say, you have a 125?
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go in the city.
It's so scary. Do you have one now?
I don't. I have total scooter envy.
You can hop on. The scooter is definitely scary on Lakeshore Drive. I had someone reach out about doing some of these pop-up shows in in Saugatuck, Michigan, and I've not driven it that far. I'm a little nervous too. It wobbles on Lakeshore, so yeah. But what you did too with the motorcycle, like I watched people. I took the scooter class, and that made me a safer driver, but I could not have done that motorcycle class. And the written test was actually really hard too.
Yes, I failed the written test the first time. It is. And I mean, here's the good news of all that. They're not just giving out motorcycle licenses randomly and willy-nilly. Like, they need to actually be competent to have a motorcycle license in theory in the city. Because it's hard. That barrier is really, really high, I think.
Totally.
For a new rider. Mm-hmm. So, okay. So you're doing those. You're continuing to do those. You've got the new album next month. It sounds like with school and everything else, you've been keeping your brain busy, and you've been keeping active. You're doing all right. You're making it through the pandemic.
Yeah, I'm okay. I think at first it was like it was hard doing school inside of me, but it's whatever. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. I'm fortunate that was my issue, was trying to figure out how to sing in German, and then pivot into like just doing online classes. And I was a lot older than students, so I was, I think, socially feeling a little just in need of getting back into music where I was having those connections. So maybe I already had some isolation stuff going on. So the Curbside Live has been good for that. I also did these Thank You Thursday series, which again, I wasn't like making millions for these organizations, but I learned a lot about Chicago nonprofits doing like live streams on Thursdays. And I made a little Thank You Thursday song, and I would spend the week researching about them and figuring out how they were responding to the police brutality and Black Lives violence that was happening, as well as COVID. So La Casa Norte, Howard Brown Broadway Youth Center, Refugee Community Connection, Major Lift, and next week Lakeview Pantry are all nonprofits that I'd spent a lot of time learning about, and then trying to just talk about them in my own words and sing some songs that felt relevant to how they were connecting resources to people. That was also, it felt, therapeutic for me to be learning about.
And you said a couple of times, I didn't make a lot of money for them, but it's about awareness. I come from a world of radio where, you're maybe not driving people to immediate action when you play a commercial, but if you get the message out there and you repeat it enough, it sits with people. And, it might not be an immediate turnkey thing, but down the road, someone will say, oh yeah, I remember Xoe doing something there or talking about that. And it clicks. It's just, it all goes toward the greater good, I think.
You're right. Yeah, I would say the same thing to someone else doing it. So yes, thank you.
So Air is the new album coming out next month. 11 songs.
11 songs. Yeah. They all made it on there.
So it'll be streamable, available to consume on what date?
On the 31st of July. And
Perfect.
they're gonna be the physical CDs and the vinyl. I'll be selling them on my scooter somewhere sometime. First time doing the vinyl. It's a road to drive down on your scooter, getting those vinyl set up.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm excited.
I've got my Blind Adam and the Federal League vinyl right behind me. Just got that today. I love supporting Chicago artists on vinyl. That's awesome. That's exciting. That's thrilling. Like, I know it's cool to have a CD that you put together, but there's something that feels more substantive about having that record in your hand.
Oh, I'm stoked. Yeah. And my niece is on the cover. She's 7. So
that's awesome.
She's super, super stoked too. She's
You're
already
a good aunt.
Plenty of vinyl. I paid her $25. She I hired her. Like, it was very official. I FaceTimed her and I was like, Paisley, I'm a musician. Yeah, Zoe. Meanwhile, like, my sister's yelling in the background, like, Paisley, brush your teeth. And she's like, don't control my body.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And she's like all business. And then she like gets the check. It's cashed right away. She calls me and she's like, thank you, Aunt Zoe. And it was very cute. But
that's adorable.
Yeah.
All right. I want to thank everyone who's been watching on the Facebook Live. I'm going to stop the stream there.